After we left Fitzroy Crossing, we camped at one of the roadside stops, a place called Panton River, something like that. Just a camp spot to get a couple of picnic tables and stuff on the edge of the road, like where the old road used to run around, bitumen thing. So we camped there, and the fridge wasn't working, so we were going to pull into the Bungles. And when we got to the Bungle gate there about 9 o'clock, 9:30, out into the camp area, and they got no powered sites, and the fridge had been running all this time on 12 volt. They wouldn't switch over to gas, so that sort of ruled that out, and we had to abandon the Bungle, so we never did get in there for a look. Only as far as the camp area thing. They got a lot of big old camp ovens in there. They have a camp oven cookout, so it's probably not a bad little area to be when they're doing that. But anyway, we got in and booked into the what do they call it, Kimberley Land Caravan Park on the side of one of the lakes, or the lake from the Tinaroo Dam, Lake Argyle. There's actually two. When you're coming into town, there's a bit of a dam there that they built back a while back, and that was for irrigation, like the proof of concept sort of thing, and then they built that real big one, so she's a big deal, that. So we spent a few days roaming around there. When we booked in, got settled in, and had to scout around and find somebody to fix this fridge, and I thought, this is going to be good in a place like this. And we also, underneath the seat, where the hot water system is, they've got a thing called a motor coach fittings on the hot water thing, American style clamped together fitting with them red and blue plastic pipes in your van. And one of them had cracked, and I thought, where are we going to get one of them here? So anyway, we went down to the hardware shop. My mate said, yeah mate, we got them here, we do them all the time. What about somebody to fix this fridge? Yeah, ring this bloke here. This fella rocked up with his apprentice. Told him what the story was. While I was talking, the young fella walked around the back of the van and pulled the dust cover thing off. He said, just unhook that wire there. This is the young apprentice fella saying this. Just unhook that wire there. Right, so we unhooked that and put it back together. But away it all went. All you had to do was isolate it. Because we'd had, when we're coming down across the dirt, the tandem and all that, we'd, the fridge, not the fridge, the stove fitting had broken, cracked, and we never did get that fixed till I got home, and I rang the crowd down and they said, oh yeah mate, yeah, that's a recall thing, and send another one. But anyway, the bloke over in Broome was just too busy. We were time and time, maybe a dozen times, man, couldn't do it. So anyway, this young fella fixed this fridge up. He said, yeah, we get that a bit. But unreal, like out there, where you wouldn't expect anything, and this friggin' 18, 20-year-old kid walked around, yeah mate, just pull that out of there. So anyway, we got that fixed, and that was all good. Got the water leak fixed. And so then we just settled in, touring around, and while we were booking in, talking about, in one of the episodes before, talking about not being able to go anywhere without running into anyone, or someone that you know. And anyway, the girl in the reception, she came from where we live, in Rocky, a little place just outside Rocky. So she'd been over there working for a crowd I knew, and split up with a boyfriend or something, and went over there. And then we went do the tour out on the lake a couple of days later, and here she is on the boat there. So we caught up with her twice. Because this place is set up on the lake, it's sort of a really nice atmosphere around the place. And then to add to that, they have, I can't remember whether it's every night or whatever, but anyway, this bloke comes in and sings, and they got a stage set up down on the bank of the lake, right on the water's edge. So you just sit all around on the grass and I might entertain you. There's something I haven't seen before too, the stage in the middle of the sticks like that. But anyway, it was really good. The other good thing they got there is the old pump station. Used to be when they used to pump the water out of this dam out to the irrigation areas, and it's since redundant because of the big old river dam. This one's been turned into a restaurant, because they've still got all the old pump engines and all the old hardware, all the electrical fittings and all that sort of stuff all still in it. And she's turned into a flash restaurant, so that's another place worth looking at. Not bad feed, not real bad prices. It's the old Ord River crossing. It's it used to be the only road between Winton, when you get to Winton, into from Wyndham to Darwin, and that was the main crossing. And in 1960, when they built the Ord River Dam, they flooded that, and somebody did say that there's enough water by washing out of that dam running across this crossing. There's enough water every day rather, to keep Perth in water for a week. So there's a fair bit of water runs down that little river. They still do. I see every now and again, you see four-wheel drive shows where they do go across that road, but it's permanently closed. But so you would have to get permission and all sorts of stuff, and people fishing there, crocodiles waiting there for stuff to fish or fall off the off the bank too, so they're fishing there too. Yeah, good place. Marima National Park, or in other people's language it's Hidden Valley National Park. It's this little park, and it's sort of more or less on like you could call it the suburbs of Kununurra, just sort of on the edge of town really. And it's got a few little tracks and walking tracks and lookout points and stuff in there. And it's sometimes called or known as the mini Bungle ranges, because it's the same rock formations and stuff. And what they reckon, 300 million year old sandstone formation look very similar to the Bungles. Right in town really. If you're going to spend some time in Kununurra, you've got to do the boat trip out on the lake, and then a boat trip back from the lake back into town. They'll take you out on a bus and trip around the lake. It's Australia's biggest freshwater lake. I'll get some details here in a minute. But before you get to the lake, they got the Durack family way back in the 1800s, whatever it was. The Duracks took it up, and big cattle mob. They drove the cattle from New South Wales or somewhere, and they walked them all the way up there. In 1971, that lake, it's Australia's biggest lake. It's got 100,000 square kilometres of water, and it's that big that it's the boat that goes out on that tour thing. It's governed by the ocean regulations, because you're more than 3 k's away from 3 mile, whatever it is, away from the banks. You've got to have all this ocean going stuff on your boat. And the wall, the damn wall itself, it surprised me, because I've heard about this when I was a kid, when I was just finishing school. There's a bloke I knew was working up there. I was going to try and get a job, but it finished about that time, so it's about 69 or somewhere there. It's 355 metres high, and it's long, sorry, and 98 metres high. It's 300 foot high, and it's all earth wall. There's no spillways, there's no nothing. The spillway goes back to the east of the dams, an old creek thing there. They've widened that out, but it's probably 20 k's away from where the dam is, so the water level never gets near the top of the, like it doesn't run over the dam like normal dams. But anyway, the Durack's house, they picked it up. It was down lower, obviously, where the original river was, and they picked it up stone by stone, and they marked all the stones, so they actually went back in the same way as they came out, and they picked her up and put her up on the hill. And the graves, they relocated them as well. and old sandstone house, beautiful old house, but it was all quarried on the site there, and the mortar was made out of the fine crushings from the stones they built it with. And yeah, it's a really one of the better things they did. They actually normally they just flood this sort of stuff and it's gone forever, but they picked it up and moved it up. It's not in the same atmospheric thing with the trees and the river and that, but it's at least it's safe and you can go and have a look at it. And there's a resort there. You've got the bestest Mickey Mouse's swimming pool. You sit in the pool and the water looks like it's in the lake, sort of thing. So you do this tour around the lake in it's about 3 hours, I think it was. And they pull up on one of the islands and they have a cook up the fish that they catch in there. There's some sort of catfish, and they couldn't sell them, nobody'd eat them, so they changed the name of them. Now they've got commercial fishermen there fishing for these things and sending them to Perth. But when they called them catfish, they couldn't sell them. So yeah, so anyway, you have a little picnic pull up on one of the islands, have a little picnic thing, and then when you come back down, the bus takes you down to below the dam, and you get on this jet boat thing back into town, and that's just awesome. Once you do the actual lake tour thing, the bus brings you back and takes you down to below the wall, and you get on this jet boat. I'm not sure how long it is, but it's fair lump of boat. There's a fair few people on it, bus full of people, so you're 40 odd people on it. And you got 3 V8 Yamaha motors, and she performs like a jet boat, and he drives it like one too. She's awesome. And so the trip was 55 kilometres from the wall back into town, and then there's a bus there, picks you up, take back to Carrion Park or wherever, and they pull up and halfway down. They got a little secluded beach bush thing there. They have pull up and have a smoker there, and one part of it he just cruises along and then he just kills it, and then point out something going on, or something in the trees, a crocodile jumping in the water or whatever. And then one part, the rapids, you've got to fold the motors up. So he just switches everything off, folds the motors up, and the GPS speedo thinks you're doing 27 kilometres an hour, just in the current of just the flow in the water. And there's a lot of these places along these photos and that the water looks like it's just still as. So it must be fairly deep. There's a lot of water running down through that gully there. I don't know where it actually fills up to the bottom of the wall from, because the bywash thing comes in further up. But yeah, it's a really good thing. If you only got a chance to do one of them, do that. just a little cup of tea spot. Pull up and have a smoke over rack on the way in. You tea, coffee, scones and pumpkin scones and stuff like that. Pretty good little setup. I don't know how they get the scones and stuff in there. They might make them in the bush there somewhere. And this is the girl we met in the reception when we first got to town, and she's from down near Rocky, near where we live. And we caught up with again on the boat. Today we did a day trip up to Wyndham, which is the port for Kununurra nowadays, but it was established in 1886 for the Halls Creek gold rush, when they struck gold at Halls Creek. And it later on became, there used to be big meat works there, and like an export port for the meat, and it was huge trucking yards and all that stuff there for the cattle and that. Well, that all goes into Darwin now, so it's all that part of it's all redundant. Meatworks are gone. They use it for port now for exporting the produce from the Ord River scheme, which is mainly sandalwood. It goes to India and comes back to you as those smelly sticks, that you pokey things. I can't think what they call them. I was thinking Buddha sticks, but no, not that. Yeah, so anyway, they get a ridiculous amount of money for this sandalwood, and it's an Indian thing, and they completely logged out in India. There's no more left there, so this is where they grow it at the Kimberleys and send it over there. And there's another big area we're getting opened up. Was this 2015? So in a couple of years, and apparently it's all gone under sugarcane for China, for ethanol for China. So huge big irrigation scheme, we don't get very little out of it. Yeah, it's got a, like most of these places, the town's split in two. You've got the residential area and then the industrial port area. And there's a lookout thing up above it. And you get up and somebody been playing in the mud, drawing pictures with dirt bikes or whatever. Yeah, it's quite interesting. Sort of, it's a fairly run down sort of town now, because like all these places, they sort of pass the use by date, and all the big road trains and stuff all take stuff into Darwin, and they even cut the cotton from up here. We were passing trucks and they're going way back down around Emerald and even further down. So that's down the bottom end of Queensland, the carting cotton from up here down there to the ginnery down there. You got the Afghan cemetery up there, which I thought was a bit interesting. They got obviously had a lot of Afghans up there with the camels in the early days, but this particular cemetery, they got really big graves, and apparently that's because they used to bury their lead camel in the grave with them. Poor old camel, he did the best work and end up in the hole. And then you got the other ruins of this residency, they call it. It was built for a magistrate in 1888, and they used the wrong stuff in the mortar, caustic stuff in the mortar, and the walls fell to bits over time. But it was never occupied because the remote location it's in and the fear of the hostile Aborigines in the area. So she never even got used. Another worthwhile little excursion, not real cheap. I think it was $600 from memory. It's Kingfisher Air. They do a tour. There's a little 7-seater plane. They're not really planes. There's a lot of country out there mixed up with them too. But it leaves Kununurra and goes out over up the river and out over the lake, Lake Argyle. Takes you out around. Just circle around over the top of the Argyle diamond mine, and then come back in. And we had lunch at Home Valley Station, and that's a really nice setup. You spend a couple of days there, but you really get a perspective too of how big that lake is from up there. There's a lot of water on it. It's like you're up in the plane, you can barely see the other side of it, and there's a lot of rough country out there. It can take you days and days and days to drive it, if you could. But if you got a geological eye, you can see where the water used to be floods and stuff that they talk about, like Noah type floods. You can see where that's all happened in the rock formations and stuff. So something catastrophic's happened somewhere back there. Big fissures up that like in between the rocks and stuff. Would have liked to have got down on the ground and had a look, but this is where we couldn't get into because we could get into, but we couldn't get in there because the batteries in the car was flat. And apparently it's a fairly ordinary road in there. A lot of different formations and stuff up there. Like it's you get a whole different perspective on the aeroplane business. It's the diamond mine. And just have a look at all those little stripes there, steps. I'm not sure how big they are, but they're probably between 4 and 15 metre steps. Probably 15 metres, I'd say. I don't know. I could find out, I guess. I've done a lot of mine, and they step down like that, but it goes right down, and then when they get to the point where they can't get any more ore back out of it, they go on underground, and still going underground. It's a big fissure pipe thing that the diamonds come up from the volcanoes. Apparently they come up from down heat and pressure, whatever. They follow that back down, maybe to the volcano. A lot of this here, you can see the flood country where the water's washed in over time. Little old road in the distance there. We heard a story there when we gone into the front gate of it. Where somebody went in one of those hired Mitsubishis and broke it in half in a gutter in there. This Home Valley station. It's I think it's owned by one of the Aboriginal corporations off the top of my head, but anyway, if it is, it's a good one. They're actually doing something with it, and it's a really good setup with a good feed there. And they got all like memorabilia, bull buggies, and all sorts of stuff. It took us out for a little guided tour in the 4-wheel drive, a bit of a drive around the place. A big old longhorn bull there, bullock maybe. So they got their own little gorge. They go up, take you up around this, and then we go back, have a look around here for a while, and then they got their own private lookout. Where you're sitting up on top of the hill, and they give you a little glass of wine and stuff. They can sit up on top of the world and have a look at their own private little lookout. But you can go and camp there, and I reckon that'd be a pretty good place to set up base there for a bit, because it's on that what's the name of that river? Pentecost River, isn't it? And El Cuestro station's a bit further up, back towards Wyndham. So you come in and then you turn left to go to El Cuestro, and turn right to come to this place. But if you're going to do the Gibb River Road, you can camp here or that other one. And on the way back in, fly over the area where they did the movie set for that Australia, that Nicole Kidman and Hugh Jackman or whatever it was. And made its way out in the middle of Never Never. They built the whole thing out here at the base of one of these hills. And this is sort of on the floodplain where the river goes, the Ord River runs into the sea more or less. But yeah, this thing's built way to buggery out in the Never Never there, and then they pulled it all down and shifted it again. And this coming back along the river, you get her down to 500 feet, and then you tip her up sideways, and you can actually see the crocs laying on the ground down there, and there's some big lizards. And you got the crocs in the water, and then you got the cattle. You can see the cattle on the roofs up on the bank above them. They can fly in over that little dam that we come across as we come into the town. And then that's about it. We got back up and a little bit of more drive around this town a little bit, and yeah, pack her up and head for, well, we were going to head for Catherine and just go home. When we got to Catherine, couldn't get a park, so we ended up in Darwin. So it's from here to Darwin. Spent a day or two in Darwin looking around again. Alright, where are we going next?
I don't know. That way?